What's going on, folks? Painless. God dang, it's been a while. It's been more than a while. But I just been, living life. Happy New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that. Uh, yeah, just been working, traveling, enjoying life, like I just said. And yeah, Painless is doing what Painless does. Ain't nothing really changed. Uh, yeah, life is good, no complaints. It's just I just don't be on the internet like that. Being this new age of content creation. If it wasn't from a lot of my listeners from way back when, excuse me, maybe like a decade ago, I think it would be pretty hard to do what people was doing in 2011, 12. I think it would be real difficult to get some traction on your channel right now. That whole start, really building yourself, building as a brand, as Painless Risen. Of course, I have Painless Do, another channel you can check out that I need to get the passwords to so I can really maybe have like a dual situation in terms of uploading content. But yeah, like I just said, you to do that now, because now it's all about influence, uh, who likes you, yeah. So, and a multitude of other things. But anyway, it's been this. It's unfortunate. I say, that things like this happen, but I understand why. The media portrays these things. They pump them up. Things like this happen a lot, folks. But here, nevertheless, I'm here to talk about it, and that's the death of Tyree Nichols, a young male that was met his untimely demise by members of the Memphis Police Department. Now, I've talked about Memphis here and there along the years. When I talked about, I talked about, I was one of the first to talk about black ran cities. I was one of the very first. I talked about Detroit. I talked about Baltimore. I talked about Memphis, Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta. I've talked about these cities and how they were democratic strongholds that were just that many black folks. You had a black police chief in many instances in these cities, and we see it here with Memphis. You get a black police chief, a black fire chief, black superintendent of schools, all black damn city council, and yet things don't get done. Some of the most highest poverty-stricken. These are cities that are always lobbying for federal funding, initiative programs, after-school programs, donations, and yet the problems still occur. Now, it's easy to what I've discovered when I have these conversations with black folks, they love to point to the low-hanging fruit. Well, it's racism. And let me say this, folks. This, especially Memphis, and this is when I'm learning about Tennessee, that really, I don't really mess with. Remember, and I've said this, and I'd be damned if I didn't land right in where the damn place I was talking about. See, here in the South is where you went to church, who you pledge with, and all that silly shit like that I don't really get down with. You know what I'm saying? I understand you find you a tribe and all that stuff, but these are the type of people that are running cities like Birmingham, Alabama, that are running cities like St. Louis and Memphis, Tennessee. These are the type of people. They go to these HBCUs, get these BS credentials. You know what I'm saying? And so infatuated with titleship. Oh, I'm so and so and so and so this. Oh, I'm head chief this. You know, I'm director of diversity and training. And usually, man, when these Negroes have these titles, it's usually created by some or within that organization. Usually, it's created by a panel of liberal, left-leaning apologists that you know they're directors of mathematics or a CFO. So you know, usually you have unfortunately, you have a mammy that went to a HBCU, got her little degrees, skiwi, all that bullshit, and she gets an honorary title in said company. That's how it goes a lot of times in these black ranch cities, especially in the South. The whole damn so-and-so, you can't get real good service in many of these cities. The infrastructure is messed up. And I've said this about Tennessee. You got Tennessee, and then there's Memphis. And you would have people from Tennessee will say that. And see, Nashville, Tennessee, these white folks will never, they will never, ever, ever let Nashville turn into a Memphis. That's why, and I've said this since being out here, you go downtown Nashville, and anybody can attest to this. Ain't no black folks downtown Nashville like that. I've never seen so many Caucasian women in my life. You want I believe Nashville is the white woman capital of America, because that's all you see downtown, in Nashville. And the blacks you do see downtown, they're usually the help. They're sweeping shit up. They're security. They're the help, quote unquote, the help. And the little black folks that you see that happen to be down there, they're usually from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. That's what it is. But yeah, back to this situation, the tragic situation. I've said this about policing to ad nauseum. I've said this. I've said that the way you always we're hearing about this police reform shit, and I'm like, reform what? Reform what? You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is there to reform? And I've said this again. The way the policing system, the way it's more like it's not an honorary profession anymore. It's more of I can get these benefits, blase, blase. So the way it's advertised, the way that most large police departments are advertised is that, hey, as a new recruit, you could come in, make $70,000 a year, 401k, dental, medical, other perks like that, or overtime, things of that nature, maybe tuition reimbursement, tuition assistance, things of that nature. The days of, and I've said this, and many of you all can attest that are still rocking with me, the days of a young man, and I say young man because back in the day, you didn't have a lot of women cops. And that's a whole, because I live in a town not far from that cop that was sleeping with other men. I'm going to leave that alone. That's a whole nother video. But the days of young boys waking up, aspiring to help people and wanting to be police is over. And a lot of that can be attributed to the whole meltdown of American society, the immorality of American society. Whereas we live in a country, we live in a country where motherfuckers can talk all type of shit about somebody. Oh, F the police, F12, F12. But when someone that looks like them has a 380 shoved up their damn nose, oh, what? I need police. Help. Somebody call police. That's what we living in at, folks. Where you can run your goddamn mouth. And then when you in a bind, seek the very people that you were just talking shit about. You know? Ain't that something? But yeah, so to be a police officer in law enforcement / law enforcement is not really looked highly upon. You know what I'm saying? It's not nowadays, this day. So, like I said, Nashville, I kind of, this is side, they're not going to let that happen. This Memphis. And Memphis it's a black, your prototypical black ran city. Corruption. Well, it's corruption and what? There you go. There you go, Negro. Out of bounds. Speaking of things of no relevance. No relevance. We talking about Memphis. And we talking about 5 police officers, all born within the 1990s, which I found interesting. None of these guys I was born in the 70s. All these guys was born in the 90s. So they young to me. My children were born in the 90s, the late 90s, but nevertheless the 90s. And I was like, man, these look like some old 1990s. You know what I'm saying? They look hard in the face to be in 1990. I thought they was my age or something. They look like they should be in their mid-40s, 40s, Like these guys, and like I said, brothers, I'm not saying I'm Mr. You, but you know what? And it was manifested within that video. These brothers, not only did they look old for their age, they were, not as quite in shape to be in that profession and at that age. If you're going to be a police, I don't want to hear you at that age. They were huffing, a couple of them guys was huffing and puffing like they was born in the 60s or 70s. You born in the 90s. In that profession. Huffing and puffing. Ooh, dang, and I'm from the South, I get it. But there's a certain, to me, sense of professionalism, especially when all your words are being collected and categorized. Dang, man, that don't make no sense, man. Have me running all this blah, 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 man. Man, that's a doggone shame, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, see, and if you really look, this happens a lot. Black ran city, black police. Now, I know good police, brothers, sisters that keep themselves in shape, that don't talk like this on the job, on camera like this, just very unprofessional. But but those guys, this is, again, this is what the world sees. If I see it, I know I know other people see it. But yeah, this is affirmative action hiring right here, folks. This is affirmative action hiring. This was sloppy police work because of affirmative action hiring, where you had a traffic stop. Five professional police slash law enforcement officers that have been trained under whatever agency, Shelby County or whatever city of Memphis, nevertheless, sworn professional officers, that a simple traffic stop turned into a goddamn murder. And see, this is the thing. We talk about, and I've said this when Ferguson went down. Negroes really ain't trying to be in a, you know why I'm going to tell you why these brothers joined the police department. Because they probably couldn't work nowhere else. One of them was working at FedEx. And I know Negroes. He probably said, hey, man, Memphis police hire, man. Man, shit, $62,000 start. I don't know what it is, but I'm just throwing the number out there. $62,000, man. Oh, shoot. And knowing damn well ain't none of them have any police bone in their body. Don't want to help nobody. Don't want to do this, you know. And coincidentally, a lot of them Q dogs, like 3 of them, part of that sorority bullshit, you know, church sorority niggas that, you know, that just said, hey, I'm going to be a police. I'm going to be a police. Don't have the interpersonal skills. Don't care to have them. Oh, we ain't got to run. We ain't got to do agility tests. Because when you're affirmative action and when you have these black ran cities, you got to lower them standards. Blacks ain't that smart. We got to lower these standards. No tests. No agility tests. No any type of aptitude or battery tests. We can't have that. Plus, you know, here, go qualify with your service weapon. Hey, you meet your FTO tomorrow. Congratulations, you graduated. And this is what you have, folks. This, you know, people are talking about, you know, they're not really talking about racism because you can't, because you have 5 Negro cops do this. But I tell you what, see, this is going to have a reverse effect. Now we can talk about police reform. All these white officers, let me tell you something. These white officers that had, you know, been in the limelight outside of Chauvin, he just did something ridiculously dumb. But I still do believe that George Floyd died as a result of him being on dope, being a dope head. But I'm going to leave that alone. But outside the rest of these police, the Michael Brown, the situation with that, the Eric Garners, a lot of this has been at the behest of black men inability to be cool in situations where their life can be taken from them. And unfortunately, their lives were taken from them. This is about those situations. They weren't really about police reform, because it were, you know, many Negroes just threw racism on it. They didn't care about police reform because those police officers reacted. You know, it's speculative. You know how, you know, your opinion, but usually it was in a situation where the perp was being the agitator. Yeah, Michael Brown. Just, you know, just beat up somebody, beat up a store clerk, had it on tape. The cop stopped him, asked him, you know, they did an autopsy, found out the dude shot him in the top of the head, meaning that he was charging at the officer. Officer did what he had to do. End of story. Freddie Gray, black cops. A lot of people forget that. It was a lot. It was black cops. I mean, it's Baltimore. I got a good buddy of mine who's a part of the police department up there. There were black cops up there. Negligence was entertained. I kind of forget how that went down. But nevertheless, you had a young black male that just couldn't take the goddamn L. You out there doing whatever you doing. You got caught. Don't be kicking and all that and stuff. Now look, it's unfortunate. Well, he was only 7. I'll tell you one thing. You think you think him being out on them streets, do you think that plug that he was dealing with in terms of narcotics would be like, oh, that's sorry, young homie. You only 17, just get me back next week. No, that plug gonna want his paper right then and there. He ain't giving a goddamn about Freddie Gray's age. So miss me with that. Stop, you know what I'm saying? Stop. Don't miss me with that. But yeah, if anything, now it's about police reform. And what's going to happen now? This is what's going to happen now. This is exactly the Deion Sanders effect. This is the Deion Sanders effect. Damn, Panelist, what are you talking about, man? Did Deion get pulled? No. See, when Deion went down to Jackson State, he brought so much limelight and attention to Jackson State to a lot of them couldn't wait for his ass to get up out of there. Do you know why they couldn't wait for his ass to get up out of there? Because they was black-ran colleges, mismanagement of funds, under the table. So it's Jackson State, they got their 5 minutes of fame, and you probably won't hear about them no more. But he was discovering a lot of stuff and calling a lot of shit out. Like, oh damn, we gotta get this Negro up out of here. Shoot, we've been doing this for 60 years, And that's exactly what's going to happen in Memphis. The feds are going to come in and say, oh, you guys don't even have an agility test? That would explain why these Negroes was huffing and puffing, just running down the street. Oh, you don't need a degree? See, most police departments, you need at least an associate's degree. I know I believe the San Diego Police Department, because I got a cousin that joined the San Diego Police Department. I think he needed a bachelor's degree. You know what I'm saying? The disparities, folks. The disparity. You mean you walking around in charge of folks' lives and you can't make, report writing? You don't learn that shit in high school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a pretty good writer. I learned how to write in college. So, they don't have any type of, de-escalation training. Let me see your SOPs, standards of operating procedure. Let me see your field manuals and how, let's investigate your academy. And you know what? The feds gonna come. See, this is how your ass gets, what's the word I'm looking for? This is how you get unaccredited. I believe that's the word, where you're not even an accredited law enforcement academy. Meaning that everyone is who's on the streets of Memphis are they're not credentialed. Essentially, that's what that means. Essentially, you did civilians out there acting as police, and the feds will do that. They will come down and take over your whole goddamn program, and that's police reform, and that's exactly what's going to happen. I can tell you what. There's cities around America that are black ran that are got their booty holes so tight. Outdated standards, outdated training, um, um, doctrines, and you know what I'm saying? And I know Negroes. This shit ain't in order. And if any brother, and I'm gonna tell you one thing, one sad thing that's happened. What does happen? Any brother or sister that is serious about police work, that will investigate and say the very shit that I just said, like, hey, blowing dust off pamphlets, like, hey, man, hey, Captain, this shit is outdated. You know, we need to update. They'll run his ass up out of there, just like they did Deion. Hence the Deion Sanders effect. Hot damn. Tell me I ain't lying. That's exactly what will happen. When you're amongst black folk and you try to do square business, meaning you trying to just run a program, be on the up and up, be G to G legit, Negroes like these five, see, they'll run you up out of here. But see, peep this. Shit is going to roll uphill this time. You always hear the term shit rolls downhill. Where my military folks at? Where my, paramilitary, any type of organization, like that, where you have a militarized, like a top-down, type of structure, rank structure. This shit gonna roll uphill. Because this isn't training. It is not training for 5 police officers to be throwing blows on a perp who's on the ground. And Negroes don't understand this. I've talked about the use of force ad nauseum all the time when these situations with Eric Garner, Michael Brown, who else, I said there is no shooting in the goddamn leg, folks. That is not in the training manuals in use of force. We only shoot headshot, and when I say I've had military and civilian LEO training. Center mass, headshots. When you shoot at your range and you qualifying for the first time or annually or semi-annually, however your department does that, there's only one silhouette. It's an upper torso and a head. Ain't no goddamn kneecaps. Ain't no ankles. Ain't no toes. You hear what I'm saying? But I know for sure. Pummeling. And see, this is it. This was some Negro stuff right here. It's so irresponsible. This didn't need to happen, folks. This is so irresponsible. This is so, a simple now we can speculate, like, you're hearing things about there may be some infidelity and all that. But nevertheless, I think it would have been smarter if whoever that officer had an issue, it shouldn't have brought all those people in. Now essentially 7 people's lives have been ruined. Not ruined, but damn, it appears it's going to be ruined. But I'm only speaking off what's going on, what has been on camera, and beating down. God, Lord have mercy. Beating down jumping they essentially jumped this dude and killed him. That's what the fuck happened. And I've said this about emotional Negroes. Act like you didn't beat up somebody before. You know, Negroes love to jump on your head and kick y'all in the, like they ain't never beat nobody up before. But again, I know Jason Whitlock, he said a mouthful, but he is right to a large extent. Remember, I've said that it's not in a man to rush to violence immediately. I've said that killing someone, there's killing and then there's murdering. Murdering someone, just especially off your emotions, off your punk ass feelings, like it appears these dudes was doing, that was a very emotional act, very feminine, punk ass act. Really, that was some bitch ass shit. I'm just call it what it is. And when they got to talking, I say they sound like some bitch ass Negroes to me. And then I see some of the social media, it had bullshit, fuck nigga all over it to me. I'm sorry, I'm just my lane, but yeah, that's what it had, folks. That's what it had, and but yeah, you want police reform? Well, you got it now, because the Fed's about to come now, and Memphis has been on the radar for years. For years, there's gonna be a lot of shit going on. Oh, you want police reform? It ain't the way you thought it was gonna go. See, you thought white folks was responded to illogical Negroes. How you explain this shit? How you explain this? Black ran city lacks standards, affirmative action. And I said, remember I said this years ago, folks? I said, these white men, I said this. And I had a white police officer when I was in Hawaii, this was years ago, confirm that. He said, I'm fucking done. He said, I can't do my job. I'm not, and and I'm a white man. One slip up, I'm a sacrificial lamb. I'm expendable. And that's what you essentially, all these white cops killing themselves, especially in Chicago. They went through a period where they was just killing themselves. Like, it was a pattern. Like, so many Chicago police officers, white men, killed themselves. And you know why? Dealing with these bullshit-ass, left, liberal-leaning, don't even make sense policies, or lose your job. That's essentially what happened. So some guys, and I say great, not those officers killing themselves, committing suicide, but for officers that saying, fuck this shit, I'm out. Y'all jungle bunnies, y'all deal with this shit y'all own self. I'm done. I ain't fucking with it. So, and what happens is you have these 5 shines right here. That's what you have. All those white cops that said, man, fuck this, I can't police. Well, this is the replacement, black folk. This is your replacement. This is your replacement. So, you thought it was going one way, but it was the other way. Painless out.